The holy grail of all communication is sending signals over long distances faster than the speed of light. When we do confirm contact with non-human intelligence, possibly living on a distant exoplanet millions of miles away in our galaxy, communication with that ET race is gonna be a very slow affair. Radio signals travel at the speed of light, which is incredibly fast. But over the vast distances out there in space, even our nearest neighbour, which is an exoplanet orbiting its own solar system, is over 4 light years away. When we make contact, that's going to be 4 years of asking, "How you doing out there?" and then waiting 4 years for their reply. "Better than you are, mate." So just imagine a new technology that can transmit and receive data faster than the speed of light. That's a load of bollocks. In our current understanding of physics, the speed of light is the ultimate speed limit, so just forget it. But hang on, not so fast. The speed limit of light completely breaks down in the weird world of quantum physics. You and I think, are built of billions and billions of individual atoms. We exist in the far-field universe of big stuff. But inside our individual atoms is the subatomic world of quantum physics. This invisible world behaves in a very different way. It appears that everything at the quantum level is connected. The quantum universe is one giant energy field. So imagine we could use that quantum world where everything is connected to send messages. A signal would no longer need to traverse the vast emptiness of space. So all the energy in the lights of Piccadilly Circus are connected to the energy of the planet Zog. But hang on, listening to myself, everything that I've just said is very woo-woo and a bit of a fantasy. Or is it? Well, a new technology is emerging that is as practical as a phone, but communicates at the quantum level. So what I'm going to share with you today is mind-blowing. When we clever humans master quantum level communication, it's not going to be faster than the speed of light. It's going to be instantaneous. That's a pretty big claim from me. But that's the type of research that I do for you on this channel. Not just repeating boring old peer-reviewed documents from 2020, but researching emerging technologies that might just change our world. I'm prepared to ask big and brave questions for you, because there's emerging science out there that's not being discussed in the hallow halls of Oxford and Cambridge, the established science community. I really appreciate all your support. Like and subscribe here to discover what the boring science channels won't discuss. So viewers, is instant quantum communication real? Well, that poses a very big question for me. To understand the quantum physics, you would need a very big blackboard with very big equations. So failing to have a really big blackboard and failing to understand the really big equations, I reached out to a radio telescope scientist to explain quantum communication for you. What I said to him is, don't bamboozle us with quantum physics equations. Please try and clearly describe what is going on using what I call steam engine visual analogies. So what I've done is taken the audio that he left on my phone and 100% accurately transcribed it into an AI voice that's just reading exactly what he said. If what you're about to hear is true, and I have no evidence to doubt it, we today might have a new tool that can detect non-human intelligence. Because if we can build an instantaneous quantum communication device, it's logical to imagine that ET might also reap the benefits of instantaneous, long-distance quantum communication. So to make things really clear why this fascinating engineer wants to remain anonymous is because he claims that these quantum communication listening devices are currently being fitted to radio telescopes to detect if ET are using that technology. That is still secret.
I will try to explain Professor Nimitz's microwave tunnel effect, which, by the way, is not only restricted to microwaves, it can be performed in every single frequency of the electromagnetic spectrum. Even light, the tunnel effect is reproducible. Okay, Gunther started off with his first demonstration of his microwave tunnel effect using a closed waveguide experiment where he put a microwave signal which was modulated with a piece of classical music. It fired at a tunnel section which is basically an area in the waveguide which is filled or is not capable of supporting a microwave signal to be transferred through it. After this tunnel section, it came back again to a normal waveguide where the signal was detected and you could hear the same music piece, which was then transferred through this tunnel, which is theoretically otherwise impossible. Well, obviously, when he presented this, a lot of people complained, "Oh, Nimitz, you've cocked up here big time. This is easy to explain with parameter 22, which is letting this happen." So next thing, Nimitz said, "Okay, well, let's do a free field test." And using feed horns, he fired through a perspex set of grids, which are basically a microwave tunnel section, and sending pulses through. You obviously have the pulse generator. You had the time delay to the modulator, which was then letting through or stopping the microwave signal from a free-running klystron. This then had the signal going through its waveguide to its feed horn, and it then came to the length of tunnel area. At the other end, it obviously came back again into a feed horn, into a detector diode, and was presented to the measuring equipment. The measuring equipment was obviously something very simple, which was an oscilloscope. So basically what you've got is you've got a gate generator, which is opening and closing the gate, letting through the microwave signal, stopping it. You've got the lengths from the modulator to the tunnel area. That is a delay. It's calculated with the speed of light. And then you have the tunnel section itself. And then after the tunnel section, once again, you've got the feed horn to the detector diode, which is again a delay, which is the speed of light. And obviously you've got the cables which are taking the signal from the pulse generator to the modulator. That's also a delay, and it's measured with the speed of light together with the signal which is coming from the diode detector going to the oscilloscope. That's also a delay at the speed of light. So you calculate everything together, and you've got the time delay between transmission and reception. Well, you can now remove the tunnel section simply by lifting out the tunnel section, and suddenly the received signal comes later. So this means that putting the microwave tunnel section in the path of the beam. This means that you are taking away distance that otherwise should have been traveled. So simply by placing or removing the microwave tunnel area, you can see very, very quickly that the signal is being transferred in zero time. Well, Nimitz originally, with his original waveguide experiment, unfortunately used the terminology faster than light. This was obviously wrong, because what we're seeing is a quantum effect from a particle in the whole zoo of quantum physics that looks basically like Newton's cradle. If you look at Newton's cradle as the tunnel section, as you are going into the tunnel section, at the exact instance of this signal going in, at the end of the tunnel section is a quantum particle coming out again. It's a bit like the Newton's cradle, where you've got the balls hanging on strings, and you pick up one and you let it drop, and it hits the whole chain of balls, and at the other end, you've got a ball which flies off instantaneously. So, basically, what you were talking about is you're talking about communication in zero time.
Hey everybody, so this is me in the middle of the edit with some really big fundamental questions about what Gunter Nimitz is actually doing. Quantum tunneling? How does it work? So what I've just shared with you is a genuine recording from my contact who uses quantum tunneling in radio telescopes. And I didn't edit it or shorten it down or oversimplify it. If you work in radio telecommunication, hopefully you appreciate or are jumping up and down going, no, 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 no. But that's what I want. I actually want to be open and honest and actually share real science with you. But as a science communicator, it raises a really big question. Why doesn't all EM frequency tunnel? So a radio, in fact, would be instantaneous, but it doesn't. It propagates, say, through our atmosphere and is transmitted and received at the speed of light. This tunneling effect, clearly demonstrated by the executive toy of the Newton balls, as it enters, it also exits. What Nimitz and my contact explained to you is that it could be instantaneous. So I jumped on the phone to ask some fundamental questions on your behalf. If Nimitz is correct, and there's a fundamental quantum tunneling bit of physics, the phone company would have instantaneous communication. The microwaves would tunnel between the transmitter and receiver, but they don't. They actually travel at the speed of light, and in fact the signal gets very weak. What the phone company does is produce the microwaves and make an antenna, a transmitter, which is incredibly tuned to the exact frequency they want to transmit. They also point it at the receiver. The receiver is bigger. The signal is weaker when it is received, but it's focused only on the frequencies they think is being transmitted from the other hillside, and they pick it up, and that's how they make a chain of transmitter and receivers, all focused and tuned to each other on two basic physics assumptions that we know work. One, if you put enough power into a microwave signal, it will propagate, even although it will lose energy over distance. And two, you can cleverly make an antenna and a receiver which are tuned to each other. So what is it that Nimitz is claiming to do with quantum tunneling to make that happen instantaneously? So Nimitz must have a device, a part of the system that forces the microwaves to tunnel rather than just propagate. What is it, says I? To make things quantum tunnel, apparently what you do is block its transmission path to make it enter this tunnel. And the receiving dish is similar. So energy goes into the blocked one, it enters the tunnel, and instantly propagates out of the receiver, and then it's just picked up by some way of picking up a signal. And the amazing thing claimed that with quantum tunneling, the distance between the transmitter and the receiver can be infinite, and the signal goes in and exits at the same instant. So if you're a communication person, stop jumping up and down, just leave a comment, please, and keep it polite. So what happened next? Well, Nimitz demonstrated this technique to the radio telescope community in this series of lectures.
And this is where it gets very, very interesting. I personally was at a demonstration where Nimitz and a couple of his PhD students who were doing their doctor thesis on his work were presenting to a group of radio astronomers the tunnel effect live. And if you're doing a PhD by numerous young people on this tunnel effect, it's obviously got hand and foot, as we say in German. This basically means that it's a 100% something that is fundamentally been proven. And people are going on further to do PhD research on what has been discovered. So this then went into the radio astronomy community. And you can obviously imagine this is something absolutely amazing. If you would have set up on the Earth the beginning of a tunnel, and we understand the physics, and we point our transmitter with the tunnel in the direction of an extraterrestrial civilization. And these guys up there also understand the quantum, tunneling. Then it means that the distance between the Earth and our transmitter and their receiver, you can communicate over light years in 0 time. This, you can say, you can best understand with the Newton cradle experiment, looking at how a quantum particle goes into the tunnel and how a quantum particle instantaneously comes out. So there is very basically explained for you all how this microwave tunneling, or any kind of tunneling, actually works. If it's in microwave, if it's in X-ray, if it's in lights, it doesn't matter. It is the quantum physics that are communicating over a very, very large distance in 0 time. So I hope I could help you on that one, so you understand a little bit more about the microwave tunneling effect. For me and the other scientists who were gathered on this eventful day by this Radio Astronomy Congress held in Europe, it was an extremely eventful, life-changing experience. We all realized that basically with very, very simple off-the-shelf components that we could demonstrate in the lab basically to anybody.
Okay, stop. Quantum tunneling is a real effect. Here's a Feynman diagram to prove it. So now you might be able to instantly hear and communicate with a very distant non-human intelligence. What do you say? How do you share stuff? The next question is actually far more difficult than the practical physics of building a quantum tunneling machine. And that is, how do you talk to them? So let's now talk about the method of communicating with an alien.
So say we have set up a communications link between our civilization and another civilization, which is an awful long way away. Even if you can communicate in 0 time, that is not going to solve the problems. The first thing you have to do is you have to generate some kind of picture format so people can understand, oh, it is a picture. Do they up there in the other civilization even have eyes, or do they look at totally different wavelengths? There are many, many, many factors which are basically they've got to be overcome before we can communicate. Now look at the old facsimile pictures, which were basically black and white pictures on a drum, and the drum span, and it made signals, were converted into current, which burns silver nitrate paper on another drum at the other end, and the silver nitrate paper changed color, and it changed from being non-existent to different shades of gray. Well, you've now got a facsimile picture that you can transmit. So that is one of the most very basic forms of transmitting pictures. This has all got to be sorted out. If we send a picture, they've got to be able to understand how to decode this picture at the other end, from their direction in our direction as well. This has to happen. So I once heard that mathematics will be the basis of communication with primary numbers. We found the guys are out there, but we want more information. This is only going to work if we can receive pictures. And with pictures, the next thing is maybe written text or maybe words. Do these people out there speak? Do they even need to write things down and make books out of them? Do they even have a written language? It may be they sing about something, and the sum of their knowledge is the sum of these songs that they have in their head. We just don't know. So two-way communication is the first major challenge. The next major challenge is to actually understand and have two-way communication. Imagine on this earth, we've also got beings that we cannot communicate with. If you have a cat or a dog at home, you'd love to know what they're talking about. You'd love to be able to talk to them in their language, but we can't do this. The same is for whales, dolphins, and many, many other animals that are very intelligent on this planet of ours, this blue marble. So, actually, communication, wow, that is an amazing step forward. And if you want to have two-way communications, the first thing is to show each of the pictures. You show me yours, I'll show you mine. And the next thing is to be able to talk to each other, to take away the pictures, and to use things like speech or text. That is an amazing next step. So the first step will be to exchange pictures with each other. I hope this has let you have some basic information about the problems that scientists have in understanding extraterrestrial civilizations. And it cannot be that we discover something and we tell people, and then they want to know everything. Please, in half a year, we want to know everything. You're going to answer all our questions. And if you can't, well, you're not the right people for the job. We need other people who are more intelligent than you. And at the end of the day, all we have is chaos. So this is one of the main reasons why alien communication, rule number 1, is don't tell anyone. It's obviously an important thing to prepare civilizations for this disclosure. And in this phase we are at the moment. So there is no public hype or demanding information that can make the process speed up. This is something that humanity actually has just to wait for and be patient. And we see the major governments of the world, with the exception of the United States, are investing vast amounts of money in very, very large radio telescopes, like the FAST telescope in China, which is multiples of the Arecibo dish. And it's been manufactured to be much more sensitive than Arecibo ever was, and low for square kilometre array, what the European Union is investing in. So these are massive telescopes that can do conventional radio astronomy, but they can also be used for other purposes if needed.
On this momentous week here on planet Earth with lots of breaking news, I hope you found that interesting. Thank you all for being great viewers, and thank you very much for your support over the nasty things that people have been throwing at me recently. You 135,000 subscribers to this channel are asking big questions, and you demand big answers. Are you, yes, you, are you seeking answers to big questions? Please press like and subscribe, because the truth can be out there.